Today on the Nerdy Gritty, review bombing. Petulant whining nerds are the only way gamers communicate with company.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I'm Fox.
I'm Dez. So, news.
Olds.
We played Five Nights at Freddy's.
We played about an hour of it yesterday.
Yeah, which is the most Five Nights at Freddy's we have ever played before. And
it's the only time I ever played the first one. We played Sister Location and played a lot less of it.
Much, much less. And I gotta say, I was actually surprisingly exactly as much.
Yeah,
as
no,
bored.
I was.
Yeah,
it was surprising how much I was right about how I'd feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Here's what it is, and here's why I think FNAF is so popular. I think that some people enjoy FNAF, but it's a product of how much they enjoyed watching their favorite YouTubers scream at FNAF.
Yeah, that was a real big, like, PewDiePie...
Markiplier,
sure, yeah, like, wow, this is hilarious. I should play this game, too.
Yeah, and then after that, I mean, the first game doesn't really have any lore at all that we know.
I mean, there's things that you can learn from what they're saying.
Right.
Lore usually comes when... I mean, that's not true. I mean... Yeah, not a whole lot.
Because there is deep lore in
Oh, yeah, sure.
FNAF.
I really doubt, though, that the guy who created it, I forget his name.
Greg.
I think it's like Mark something.
Markiplier.
Yep, Markiplier himself. No, he, I would be very surprised if he expected to be 7 games deep into the FNAF
Absolutely
world
right.
at the beginning of when he just made this one game that probably didn't take very long to make.
I bet that he was looking to make a fun indie game.
Yeah, for $5.
Yeah, and then did it, and then people was like, wow, people got really into this. Like,
I guess I'm making a sequel now.
I'll say this, he made a successful jump scare engine.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? That game came out in 2014.
Really?
4 years ago.
That's not...
There are now 7 FNAF games.
Nearly as old as I thought it was.
Nope.
I would guess like 2010.
2014, that was what it was. It said it like on the game as we played it, yeah. So yeah, the first 5, like the real like main series, I guess, they came out real quick one after the other because they were all based on the same thing, basically, like the same
and at the end of the day,
and whatnot.
You don't have to do
much.
Right,
exactly.
Like,
yeah, look, I don't want to say it was a bad game.
Right. It was not for us.
It was not for us, but also I wasn't bored the whole time. When you I played and died pretty quickly. I was bad
Twice.
at it. Yeah. You played and were much better at it. And each time we survived a night, I was pretty happy. I was like, oh,
yeah,
awesome.
I did it.
Yeah, like that was.
Well, and then from 5 to 6 a.m. was just the most tense time.
You're like, this is taking
night.
so long. Like,
yes.
There were really great moments in that game. Unfortunately, after the first time playing, and even the first time I knew what to expect, really, but after the first time playing the game, it became more of a puzzle than a horror game. I mean, I have a standard belief, I've been thinking about this for a while, that in reality, the one genre that everything else is a subgenre of in the gaming industry is puzzle. Everything's a puzzle game. You just put the right piece in the right place, maybe at the right time, and you've solved the puzzle of the game and you move on. Yeah. But anyway,
put the sword in the right person at the right time.
Exactly, 100%. You run to the right cover in Red Dead Redemption 2, and you pop up and shoot the right person at the right time. Or, to a very...
I see what you're saying.
But like JRPGs are puzzle games.
I think that's just called problem solving.
It's problem solving, sure.
Yeah.
But there's a combination of moves to make, and you will solve the puzzle.
Yes, and that is very true with FNAF.
With FNAF, yeah. This basically... I mean, it changes every time. It's very... I guess roguelite, where each one is different and you have to react differently. So I think it's a well-crafted game. I don't think it's bad. I just think that it is a one-trick pony.
It really is.
Especially after
Which is crazy for me that you can ride that one trick for 7 games.
Which probably speaks to the level of like lore and world building. Even if you literally just stand in one spot for the whole game and just look at screens, the world building must be pretty good if people are willing to enjoy it, because for this long,
there's
a whole T-shirts and all the products and stuff that come out. Like FNAF is a big
There's
deal.
a movie coming out.
Yeah, apparently Christopher Columbus, the sailor, from
He discovered,
the 1400s. He discovered FNAF.
FNAF, yep.
He discovered Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria.
Yep. I keep calling him Fazbear because of Fozzie Bear.
Yeah. Now, Christopher Columbus actually he directed several Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
It's very surprising that he's doing this, but I don't know. Anyway,
he's locking down that tween market.
there you go.
Yeah.
He doesn't already have that with Harry Potter. Not anymore, I guess.
Well, that's what I mean, though.
Yeah, that's for the millennials.
He brought it with Harry Potter, and
Sure.
then he's getting it back with FNAF now.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. So I'm simultaneously like, wow, that's actually pretty good that if you can make that happen, but also on the other hand, you lost me as far as your actual intended genre goes after one playthrough.
Right.
Whereas we've been playing Darkwood, and we were talking about this while playing it. That game is inherently basically the same thing throughout. Like you're collecting things, trying to survive a night.
Collecting, yes.
Collecting, yeah, it's a term I just created. You're trying to survive a night and then get through the story. But it introduces new ways that those things happen, or just new like new areas that you haven't encountered, or like new elements, like music starts playing at a certain point, or you're in, you find this lady who's just dancing around, and everything you've encountered so far, except for like the merchant, is gonna hurt you. And so for a while, I was like skirting the edge, trying to stay away from her, and then I went up to her and she did nothing.
I know.
And then I saw her later,
and she had a health bar. You could have
things
hurt
like
her.
that. Yeah, so it still has like this base thing of what you're doing, but it kept things fresh throughout. We're still playing it even.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just surprising to me that I was impressed as much as I am.
As you said, it's a nod to the lore of FNAF.
Yes.
And
that's probably the strongest part of the whole series, I would say.
I mean, something that I wanted to touch on is also goes to show just the difference in horror preference of people.
Yes.
I was talking to a few of my students, and there's one of my favorite horror movies is called The Others.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah, and they were like, I watched it and it's stupid. Like, I don't like that. But then on the other side, they like, oh, but The Nun is so good.
Right.
And I'm like, those are just jump scares.
Yeah, it's just
like,
a scary nun lady jumping out at you.
After a while, you get used to it, and it's just not scary
100%.
anymore. And
gaming follows the same pattern.
Yeah, FNAF is the same way, where I'm not a jump scare guy, and so there were a couple of times that like, it got to the point where like if the chica was outside the window, I'd be like, well, close the door.
Yeah, now it's time to close. That was just a signal that I have to press this button.
Right.
It wasn't like, press the button, which is maybe what it could be at first glance if I had known nothing about it. But yeah, it's just
there was a time
signal of the times, or
when
a
the
sign
fox,
of the times.
Foxy was like just showed up, because apparently Foxy does that sometimes.
Right, in the first night.
Right. Well, no, this was, for me, it was like the third night that Foxy showed up. But either way, like when Foxy showed up for you, we were like, whoa, like there was a scare.
Right, he was running down the hallway. I didn't expect that. It was a jump. It was a jumping.
But when Foxy showed up for us a while later, when we'd gotten used to it, it was like dang it. All right.
You want to know at the base level what it is? It's the difference between fear and surprise.
Yeah.
You are surprised that Foxy ran down, but surprise doesn't really last.
No, it doesn't.
Fear does. The hallmark of good fear is that it sticks with you.
Yes.
And Five Nights at Freddy's, I slept perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about that with Darkwood. That night you were like, the door knocking scared me.
Yeah,
and I had trouble sleeping. Last night though, I had zero fear
that perfectly fine.
That
I didn't even think about
it. Fox was going to jump out or whatever.
I didn't think about it, and this morning I asked for a refund on Steam. Thank you, Steam, for your refund process. But before we get into the thing, I want to talk about a game I've been playing.
All right.
Called it's a little indie game.
Oh yeah.
Called Red Dead Redemption 2.
I haven't heard of it.
No, yeah, I found it on Amazon actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty good.
Just some indie devs.
Somebody
real quick.
music famous person or something like
that.
Or I don't know. It's an interesting. Yeah, no, they've made some other games, I think, but
it's Rockstar Games, guys. That's what we're getting.
That's the joke here.
Yeah,
it's Rockstar. It's the biggest game in the world right now.
Yes,
their previous game is literally the most successful piece of entertainment ever. It costs
Grand Theft Auto 5?
$265 million to make, which is ridiculously expensive. The most expensive video game ever made.
But
has made $6 billion.
That is insanity.
One video game has made $6 billion. You know how much like Avengers made? Like $2 billion.
Yeah.
And that ruled the world.
That was like, they were like, oh, look at all the money Avengers made. Meanwhile, GTA 5's like, I got three of you.
I could buy 3 of you. Yeah. Anyway, so this is their next one, Red Dead Redemption 2, and it is great. Like, there are some control issues, I think. Like, it's a little clunky, especially learning how to, like, just movement, actually. Like, it's surprisingly clunky just to, like, it's fine, but it should be a little more intuitive.
Well, what's crazy to me and what I keep seeing is people saying things like, the control's a little clunky, it took a while for me to get used to. But once I did, the game just sucked me in, and I got over it. I got over it real fast.
Because my preference in games is storytelling and character development, I was sucked in from the start. They hooked me. Like Dutch, who's your gang leader, such this enigmatic figure. He's like clearly like a leader, and I'm already part of the gang. Like I can see this as like a brotherhood and not just like gang criminals.
You're not
that
bad
kind of
guys.
Like I'm already in that. I'm already in the whole like I can choose my path of being honorable or dishonorable. It does that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Binary system, which isn't usually the best idea because it's like good or bad.
Yeah.
Shoot
this guy in the face or put his children through college.
Yeah, or give him a puppy.
Yeah.
You know. But usually your choices are pretty fairly like what you can choose to do are on either of those scales. It's usually shoot them or spare them so far from what I've seen.
Right.
Or oftentimes it's help the person or ignore them. Now I'm sure there's more nuance, and that also makes it sound very black and white. But you are inherently an outlaw, and so I like the idea of being an honor, like a Robin Hood type person.
Well, and I haven't played it, but what I've heard from like read in reviews and things like that is Dutch isn't in it to be a bad guy.
No.
He's like a freedom, like his opinion, like maybe an anarchist, a true anarchist.
Kind of, yeah. Like they're fighting against the mechanization, the civilization of the world.
That he likes the Wild West.
Yes.
He likes it wild, and he wants to keep it wild.
This is a prequel to Red Dead Redemption,
right?
But it's very close to it, and so it's kind of like the end of the Wild West era, where the law is starting to take roots in these places that have just been untamed wilderness. And so you have a lot of like just the world is beautiful and you have these cities and it's really great, especially the storytelling. That's always been a Rockstar forte. Like they've been very good at writing stories and characters you like. And I like this more than GTA because GTA is, well, they do it very well. It's satirical and much more like heavy-handed with what it's doing. And this is just telling a story. While there are some things that it talks about that are like pretty applicable today, it's telling a specific story without a inherent like we're going to be satirical about it and like make fun of current society.
GTA, part of it is spectacle, and they know that, and they allow you to fly an airplane into whatever, and that's given birth to games like Saints Row or Crackdown, where they're similar but even more on the spectacle. Either you can pick up cars yourself and throw them, or you can fly a couch with guns on it or whatever else.
Man,
and these other things, but Red Dead Redemption 2 takes itself seriously.
Yes, and it's great. It's so much fun. Yeah. You get so many open world options. You feel like a real cowboy, and I'm excited to keep playing it. We'll put it on the channel eventually, but I'm playing it pretty casually, and I want to put it all up at the same time. So yeah. So look out for it in the future, but be prepared to wait.
But there was like a big controversy with them, which is something we might talk about later with Crunch or whatever, things like that. But probably talk about it later. But what a lot of people are using to talk about that is the review scores.
Yes.
And so let's get down to the nerdy gritty.
Sure, let's do that. Let's do that right now.
Review scores are something that gamers have control over. And recently, Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, after less than a month, it was something like 28 days of being out,
of available on Steam.
Yeah, being available on Steam. It went on a 30% off sale.
Yeah, that's a significant price drop.
Right. It's a pretty big price jump. And gamers were, understandably, really upset.
Yeah.
For those who pre-ordered it and then 28 days later,
To be
zombies. 28 days later,
That's a good movie.
they are suddenly like, wait, I could have saved $20 or whatever, if I just waited a little while.
Right, exactly.
So the Tomb Raider has been review bombed, which
Yes.
means that they have gone to Steam and given them a very 1-star review or whatever, low
bad
percentage.
review
Yeah.
intentionally to bring down the score, the overall review of the game, so that people will see it and think, oh, this is a bad game.
And at that point, what happens is Steam just has algorithms on their page that when a game has lower reviews, it puts it lower on search engines, it puts it lower on featured areas, things like that, and suddenly Shadow of the Tomb Raider is not highly featured, it's not highly found, you're easily found or whatever else. You have to be purposely seeking it out to be able
you have
to
to
do
actually
it.
search
and that
for
impacts the sales of the game
100%,
pretty hugely. And if you look at some of these reviews, they even say things like, game was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Really liked the game, but to put it on sale that early is just unfair to us,
That's a thing I've seen on Amazon as well. Like looking at hardware like cameras or something we're wanting to purchase, and it's like, oh, it's got mostly 5 stars, but you want to look at some of the bad reviews just to see what they say. And, and a lot of them are like 1 star. I'd give it a 5, but when I got it in the mail, it was broken. Or Amazon didn't mail it to me when they said they would. It took 3 weeks to get instead of 2 days. So I can't give it a 5 star. And it's a problem of, we'll talk about some specifics, but it's a problem of a dishonest review. One that's not fully about the actual product itself, but kind of about the meta experience with it.
Which, a little bit of a life hack, if you want the most honest reviews, check the 4-star and 2-star reviews.
Yeah, the more nuanced stuff is usually a good idea.
4-star and 2-star reviews are it's everybody who didn't just get it and were like, it works perfectly, 5 stars.
Yeah.
And everybody who were just like, it shipped 2 days late and I hate everything.
Yeah, and the world sucks and Amazon should burn.
It's things like, it's pretty good, but, or I'm not a fan. I mean, it did. So 4-star and 2-star reviews. Anyway.
So before we get into that, let's talk about Steam specifically, because they have these, like the algorithms that go into that kind of stuff. And so you're not on Steam a whole lot.
I am not.
But in the past, have you been somebody who looks at Steam reviews? Has that been something that influences your purchases?
Especially as in the indie gamer of our channel.
Okay.
There are times that I just browse the indie, because you can click indie, and I will just browse indie games and see what's interesting.
You look at the reviews?
And I very much look at the reviews to see what is more highly rated, much more low rated, and things like that. And especially when I'm there are times when I'm like indie, horror, and I get pretty granular with my selection, and so I'll have games from 5-star to garbage on there.
Sure.
And so I've read a lot of different review styles on Steam for sure.
I do too. Mostly because I prefer console gaming. It's just a simpler process, especially for recording. Because your computer has to do far less work if it's recording and playing the game. So when I look at PC reviews or Steam reviews, I'm specifically mostly looking, because I'll probably know about the game already. Mm-hmm. I'm specifically looking at whether or not it runs well on a computer, because if it's just a port to a PC, then there's a good chance that it just was broken, or so oftentimes those bad reviews would be like, I know this game is great, but if I can't play it on the PC, then the PC version of it is bad, and I have to give it a bad review. And so I'll look for those specific things. But yeah, that's something I do use them, not necessarily most of the time, to see if the game is good or not.
And see, there's a big difference right there, because for me, looking at indie games, I'm aware that for the most part, none of these are going to be what you have called dishonest reviews.
Okay.
For nobody's gonna say the publisher is bad for an indie game, because there is no publisher. It's an indie game. And when it's Steam, they're not gonna say it shipped late, because it doesn't ship. You download it.
That's true.
Any reviews that are gonna be there, people aren't gonna say oh, it went on sale right after I bought it, because most of them were $12 anyway.
Right.
And so if 12 to 10, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, or it's an indie game and Steam has a lot of sales, and so it's kind of understood.
It's on sale usually.
It might happen pretty quickly.
Yeah. And so I don't get that many dishonest reviews, and so I'm able to take them much more at their word.
Yeah, a little more
with somebody who's in AAA games, into more AAA games, and you do look at the reviews, how much stock do you take in those? Like, if you just look right off the back and it says mildly high or mildly or very good or mildly
honestly,
good or
like
whatever.
if it says like mostly positive, like that's a good sign to me. I'm willing to take it at face value most of the time.
You are?
I will look at like the most helpful reviews. Which I don't people's understanding of what that means is it's here's the problem, it's all subjective. Every review is always subjective, so you have to take it with a grain of salt, because even if a game is amazingly reviewed, it just might not be your thing, and you might not enjoy it. But yeah, it is something that I look forward to, or I'll look at what is the most helpful, where it's other people have basically reviewed this review and said that
so meta.
So meta.
You are reviewing the review right now.
What? My brain, it hurts. So Steam has actually in the past couple years really ramped up the amount of attention they've given their review section on each game. Actually, in fact, it used to be that the Steam reviews, people would review them fine, but also a lot of people were just trying to be funny with it, and so they'd be like, they play Goat Simulator, which is obviously a ridiculous game and supposed to be funny, but they'd be like, got set on fire, then launched to the moon, 10 out of 10, will play forever, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it's not really a good review of it, but so now they've added a good, bad, or funny review on there, just to let people, which is very smart on their part.
Good.
I actually really appreciate it, because they saw what people were doing and were just like, all right, let's go with it. That's what they want to do.
That's what they want.
So that is something. But yes, I do take them seriously, because I have opinions on games, and I want people to be able to trust mine. And so at a certain point, I want to look at what people say and be able to trust them.
So you and I are both sitting here saying that we want to be able to, quote unquote, trust these reviews.
Yes.
So with that being said, what exactly we're talking about today is review bombing for things like this, or like review bombing of a game that was very good and maybe the developers agree or whatever, but like then the CEO of the publisher came out as an anti-Semitist or something like that. Right. And then like a lot of times the game will get review bombed for something like that.
Which... yeah, that'll happen without much. It's like when Chick-fil-A's CEO or whatever said that he doesn't support gay marriage, and everybody like boycotted Chick-fil-A, which I understand, I guess, but also that's really, to me, a separate issues here.
It was actually CEO, or not, it was just creator of Chick-fil-A, and the dude had left the company a while back. Like, it was a really weird thing. It was like
Kathy S. Truitt, that's his name.
Like you're not impacting this man's life at all right now. What?
You're just impacting people who actually work there.
Yeah, like people with jobs. That
it also really did nothing, because Chick-fil-A is the best.
It's delicious.
It is the best,
and people just kept eating
there.
Yeah. So, but so the question we're asking today is it just gamers whining? Are we just being kind of petulant when we go on and say, oh, I don't like your game because you forced 100 hours of crunch, or I don't like your game because it went on sale too fast, or I don't like your game because the opinions of your higher ups or whatever else. Zero impact on the actual gameplay, the actual game itself.
Right.
It's outside knowledge, meta knowledge is affecting this review score. What do you think about that, Fox?
I am not a fan. Although I am not 100% for or against it. I think there might be better ways to do that. Feedback to companies. They're always looking for feedback, right? They have like usually there will be, like, I would go on Reddit or something. Mm-hmm. Or like, you can go on their website, and it's very likely that you can like send them an email or whatever, like that they have QA, and they have there's usually like community people. Like I don't think it is the best method to do this, but also I think it is a method. I think it is valid to a certain extent. I think that if you do not like the actions of a company, then if you are doing something that is non-violent, that is something that is that will possibly have a detrimental effect on it, I think at a certain point, yeah, just do it. I don't think, and that comes from a place of I am able to see that it has a mostly negative review score on Steam. Okay, let's find out why. And then probably look for articles, because if something being review bombed usually is going to get picked up and they'll talk about it, like we did with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That's not something that you noticed on your own. It's like an article or something where it's like, this is happening. So I think it's fine. It's a good way to send a message, but also I think there are better ways to do it. What about you?
I think I disagree with you.
Really?
And I think I'm all about it, actually.
You are you are 100% for it.
Yes.
Interesting.
And here's why. At the end of the day, what the company's goal, what an organization's goal is when they make a game, is to A, make a very good piece of art, and B,
hopefully
make money.
Yeah. Well,
and that's it.
Sure. Those two might be tied or in either.
Right.
Yeah.
But for a AAA game like this,
yeah,
it's both of those things probably usually
100%. Yeah,
money.
both of those were their intention.
So we as gamers, if they have made a very successful piece of art, we still kind of want to buy their game. Like, we still want to play this game. It looks really good.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But there has to be a way for us to be able to communicate to them. But I don't like the way that you're going about this, like you're doing this. So their bottom line is, if we whine and we cry all day long, but we still buy their game,
yes,
they're going to be like, all right, cool, whatever. Like, there's a really good example of this when I can't even remember what J.K. Rowling said that people were like all up in arms about.
Oh, she wanted Scotland to remain with the UK.
Is that what it was?
I don't know, but that is the thing that she give a lot of money to the state campaign.
Whatever she said, I can't remember what it was.
It's a whole different thing.
And somebody was like, "Oh, I'm real disappointed in you, J.K. Rowling. I'm going to take all my books of yours and burn them."
Oh, was it the fact that Dumbledore's gay?
No, this was after that.
Oh,
this was recently, like probably a year ago or something like that. Maybe, yeah, I don't know what it was, but I don't remember what it was.
Allowing non-British actors in Fantastic Beasts?
The bottom line here, no, it's set in America. Anyway, the bottom line here is that somebody's like, "I'm going to burn your books," and she goes, "Okay, I already have your money." And that was her response. And it's like, yeah, like, I mean, why do I care? And that's exactly what a lot of publishers are going to be doing when we say we don't like that you put it on sale already.
Yeah.
It's like, cool, but I already have your money, so buy. So all we can do after the fact, so we pre-ordered or we bought Red Dead Redemption 2 and we hear about crunch, or we bought Shadow of the Tomb Raider, then it goes on sale, or whatever else is going on, and then we find out meta knowledge. Our ability to go in and in some way stop the on-the-fence people from buying their game is a way to hit their bottom line. Now, I think that it is better to give an honest reasoning. So give yourself a one-star review or whatever.
Yeah, make sure you say...
and then say, the game's actually pretty good, but I really disagreed with the way that they did this and went through this, and so this review is to show them that they can do better than this.
But how much is that going to do? If I, coming in a couple weeks after it comes out and seeing, oh, it's cheaper, oh, but it's got a bad review, maybe that's why it's cheaper. Oh, wait, no, I'm reading all these reasons. Oh, it's actually a good game, and I can get it for cheaper. Yes, please.
But so the on-the-fence people is really what I'm looking at here. So I more than anything, it's going to be people that open up Steam and they're browsing the featured.
Sure.
And Shadow of the Tomb Raider is just not there at all. And so at no point, it doesn't even enter their brain to look at Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Yeah. Whereas on the other hand, they're browsing Steam for something to play, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider's there. I was like, oh, and it's on sale. I might as well pick that up. You know, it's on sale right now. I might as well grab that.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a good amount of people that do exactly that are in that, I wasn't thinking about it, but it's here and it's on sale, so I might as well pick it up and play it. You know, but now you're removing it from that area. You're taking it out of that. Or even some people are being like, yeah, that's pretty underhanded, and maybe they just decide not to buy it at that point. So whatever it's
possible, yeah.
It's our way of communicating to them. So more than anything, it's a way for, if you're the CEO and somebody, you know, your administrative assistant runs in like, ma'am, hey,
we've got a problem, boss.
Yeah, you know, we got a problem, boss. What is it? Oh, our people are complaining about our game. Are they still buying it? Yeah. Okay, go get me some coffee.
Yeah.
Or they run in and they say, we got a problem with our game. And boss says, are they buying it? And they say, not as much. Our sales have gone down.
What? And they flip their desk.
Exactly. And so it's that moment when they can say like, hey, our sales were pretty high, but now that our featured is taken off of Steam, now that we're not featured on there anymore, yeah, our sales have gone down. And that is a bottom line. That is a numerical thing that they can look at and say, hey, this is where we were. Like, I'm pointing. You guys can see my gesture.
Yep. No, they see it.
This is where we were when we were unfeatured on Steam, and now my hand's going down.
Yep, it
and
is.
now this is
It's
where
true.
we are when now that we're off of featured on Steam.
Doing a lot of circle motions.
Why? Why did we do that? And then they can go in and say, oh, dang, they really didn't like that we approved that Steam put our game on sale. Like, they really weren't a fan of the fact that we gave them approval to put our game on sale. And so...
Now, we have to admit, specifically in this one, that Crystal Dynamics, or likely...
Eidos? No, not... Yes.
No.
Square
Enix. Didn't do anything wrong.
No.
They did something perfectly allowed. It's called buyer beware, man. Like, it's called buyer's remorse, really. Like, oh, dang. But that can always happen.
It can.
So they didn't do anything wrong. I don't think we can blame Square Enix on this. I think that what they were doing was reacting to what Shadow of the Tomb Raider got middling reviews, or at least that was my review. It was like
middling plus.
Fine. Yeah, it's still a fun game.
8 out of 10.
But it's whatever.
They wanted it got good reviews. 8 out of 10.
Because of that,
but they wanted it to be better.
Its sales were probably fine,
right?
But not anything amazing. And so they saw that most of their sales were probably pre-orders and right after it came out for people who really wanted to play it. And because its reviews were probably middling at best, or middling plus 7.5, 8, it wasn't something, because there were other games that came out close by, like Spider-Man, that were way better.
Yeah.
And if you're just buying a game because it's supposed to be really great, that's not going to be one that's going to, like, it didn't elevate above the rest. And so it's like, okay, well, if I wasn't already looking forward to it, then I'm not going to get it as the generic buyer person. And so I'm guessing that this sale wasn't like and now for fun, extra fun, it's cheaper. It was, oh, we didn't get the sales we wanted, so let's try to boost those sales a little bit and throw a thing in there. And so, like, it just makes sense. Like, it's a business decision.
I agree with you, but that's exactly the point. The point is that for those people who weren't interested in buying it and they're putting it on sale, they're never going to know it's on sale if it's not somewhere on a featured list. If they're not being
necessarily
actively told, you're not going to seek out Shadow of the Tomb Raider to see if it's on sale or not.
I'm into action adventure games. That whatever. Like, you could just do a generic search and it would come up. Okay. It's a recent game.
I will say it's significantly
new releases,
significantly more rare that somebody's going to be looking for the granular search the way that I search for indie games than browsing what's on sale on the featured area. Like, if you're just looking to play a game, you're going to browse, hey, what's on sale right now? And if Tomb Raider's not there, then your whole point of putting it on sale is kind of moot.
Right.
Because people aren't going to be able to see it right at that point. And so the way that it's a tough spot for Square Enix, for Eidos, for whoever, we want to say, for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. But I think their fault was just not thinking to themselves, hey, don't you think it's kind of soon to do this? Like, okay, we want to make more money. Why not release a DLC and then put it on a 30% off sale at the same time?
Because if people aren't buying the game anymore, they're not going to buy the DLC anymore. Like, I think they're trying to get more people to play it and to be able to. But the
DLC is just what gets people back interested in it and talking about it. It's what gets you. I played the game, I did, and this DLC's coming out. Oh, yeah, cool. It looks interesting.
I think that's actually detrimental, because I played it and I was like, whatever. I'm not interested in DLC for that game at all. I think I don't want to play more of it. I already spent too much time 100%ing it.
But people will be talking about it.
Possibly.
And so it's at a situation like that where you can take advantage of conversation of what you have going and then also put your game on sale. And you're appeasing some people. The people who bought it in the first place are now going to go pick up that DLC. People who haven't bought it at all see that the game's on sale. Maybe they buy both. And it's just an opportunity for them to be able to do what they need to do without, the right afterward. It just went on sale right afterward. And that's frustrating and it's difficult. And especially for a brand new game, like 28 days to go on I think it was even like 38% off or something like that. It's ridiculous. That's a lot of money.
It is. I'm okay with that risk. A game I'm going to buy, I'm interested in playing it, not necessarily because it's cheap. There's plenty of super cheap games that I could get on Steam right now that I might be interested in, but no, I'm not going to buy them just because they're cheap. I have done that in the past with like indie or humble bundles, but generally when I buy a game, it's because I'm interested in playing it. And I, as a pretty heavy game player, I'm a large man, and also I play games. I know what's out there. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was not a small game that nobody's heard about.
Right.
If you didn't hear about Shadow of the Tomb Raider, then you don't play enough games. You're probably not on Steam. I find it hard to believe that people are just not going to know about it. And if you don't know about it, you might not be somebody who's willing to put $40 or whatever the sale price was into a new game, because you know what Tomb Raider is. People know what Tomb Raider is.
Right.
If Red Dead Redemption 2 went on sale in a couple weeks, I'd be pretty shocked, because they'll still be making $60 for months and months on this game. But people know what it is. I'm okay with the risk and just saying buyer beware.
But I might. So as a guy I'm not going to put $40 or $60 into Red Dead Redemption 2. I might put $40 into it though.
Cool.
As the guy who's off to the side, you could see where that would be wise for them to put it on sale.
Awesome. So let's put it on sale, and we'll get another buyer.
But wouldn't that frustrate you as the guy who pre-ordered it?
Not really. No, it's a great game. It's worth $60.
See, for me, what I would say is, well, then you know what, guys? Next time, I'm just not going to buy it when it comes out.
See, that is, I think, the better response. The next time Crystal Dynamics puts out a game, the next Tomb Raider, it'll probably be called Revenge of the Tomb Raider or some stupid.
Tomb Raider Strikes Back.
No, it's always just blank of the sun. It's like the Planet of the Apes sequels, where it's just
blank of
Planet
the
of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet, and they're all just stupid titles. It'll be another one of those. Or they are apparently making an open world Avengers game.
Ooh.
Which has a lot of interesting things to it. But I think that's the better response. If you want to hit them in their pocket, in their bottom line, don't give them any money at all. Start doing that now. The last time you did this, you did a bad thing, so I'm just going to play this game instead. But if you're willing to give them money, then it's hard for me. It's like saying, I hate the president, but you didn't vote. Why didn't you try to make it different? I don't know. I'm okay with the risk, personally. I understand that people might not be, but I think there are better ways to send them a message, because in your review, you're not being completely honest. Even if you put, I liked this game, it just did a bad thing. You're not giving a review. You're giving a review of the situation around the game, not of the game itself. So I think a better way to review business practices is somewhere like a Reddit post, because they look at those. In this day and age, Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix have people that pay attention to their Reddit threads. They have people that pay attention. They have Twitter. They have Facebook. They have Instagram. They have all these things which you can directly speak to them through. A review bomb probably has a very obvious reason behind it. People are going to write that or whatever.
Right.
But if you just tweet at Square Enix and be like, hey guys, that was stupid, and 1 million people do that, that's, I think, a much clearer message, as well as other platforms, and then an even clearer message, or just a more impactful way for them is to not buy their next game.
See, I don't know if it would be more impactful. And at the same time, I think that judging, what if the next game is great, and they don't do anything wrong and everything's fine, and we want to tell them, hey, I appreciate the way that you handled this game.
Let's tell them that. Tweet at them. Like, literally talk to them.
So and you can't do that, and that works, but that our actual words only go so far when their bottom line is not being hit. If their bottom line remains exactly the same through when we're happy with them or when we're frustrated with them, they don't care what we say.
I don't know if that's a 100% of the time thing. I'm going to point out there's a game called Warframe. It's an MMO.
Right.
It's very popular. It's free to play. It's made by, I forget the company. I really wish I could remember because there was a no clip documentary about them and like the game about Warframe.
Right.
And they as a company are very much into like paying attention to all the forums, paying attention to they do like a weekly streaming thing with higher up developers and like talk about the game and interact with people. But they also in the past have seen like, oh, we just accidentally pulled a lever and get out a thing and it costs real money. And well, actually how they handled it was really well because they saw it and were like, oh, we don't want that in our game. We don't want to be that business practice. So they took it out really without a whole lot of feedback. They saw people had spent $200 on it and said, oh, we don't want this, and took it out. And they've seen that people were like, yeah, we're not a big fan of this like gameplay style that you just put in there. And so they take it out. Like there are companies will do that because they want to create a good experience. We're talking mostly about the business side of things, but we cited at the beginning that a good piece of art is also part of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think those things
That's
are
fair.
pretty intertwined because like how you interact, like if I go to an art show and I'm possibly curious in like about buying a piece of art at that show, but to get in I have to pay a certain amount of money, or I don't know, they're jerks to me or something, like, oh, sorry guys, like that. Those are two things. I'm not going to experience your art because you guys treated us well or didn't treat us well. And so I think a good company will look at both of those two sides of the coin as intertwined. If we want people to experience this great piece of art, then we have to be a good business because people care about both of those things. I want to play Red Dead Redemption because they have a pedigree of great storytelling and great characters. And I understand that I'm also going to be providing them money as a business. And so both of those things have to be looked at. And I think a good company, especially one like Square Enix, who has the ability and the money to do both of those things, if they're a good company, they will do those inherently and will pay attention to what people are saying about their game more than just, did we make enough money? Money's going to be very important. I get that. That's why they put it on sale, because their money probably wasn't to the point that they wanted it to be. But a good company will look at both of those things and care about both.
Let me just ask you this then, and we're running out of time, so we'll kind of wrap it up. But my final counterpoints before we each give our final final statements is,
sure.
Let's go back to your art show, and you walk in and somebody has this super rad painting that you really like, and it has a $60 price tag on it.
It's called the Mona Lisa, and
you buy it for $60.
Yep,
that's it. And then you walk away with millions of dollars.
I just left $60 on the floor of the Louvre, and just walking out with them. Yeah, is this not? No. Oh, sorry, guys.
So no, it's $60 piece of art, and it's beautiful, and you love it, and you're like, oh, this is well worth it, and you buy it, and then you're walking back, and a dude's got like more prints of it, and now they have a $38 price tag on all of them, and you're like, wait, I just bought this for $60, like 4 hours ago. I just bought this for $60, and the dude's like, yeah, they weren't selling as much as I wanted them to, so I put them for this, and you're like, okay, but what? You had already thought to yourself, this is worth $60.
Yeah.
But now you're walking by. Are you telling me that you're not going to be bothered by that at all?
I'll be upset. Or maybe I'll be like, oh, I guess I could have paid less. But real value is what you are willing to pay for something.
Right.
There is no inherent value to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It doesn't cost $60 because the creator of the universe said that from the very beginning. It's what the standard price is, and people are
It's
probably
actually
willing
day
to...
5 in Genesis 1.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Lord spake...
Spake?
That, yes, it's a word. The Lord spoketh all video games in the 5th generation of consoles, 6, whatever, shall cost $60 unless it is a remake of PS1 era games, and then it shall be $40. Let it be so.
Also birds, I guess. they're weird.
Also, there's some things that fly around. They might be in those games. I don't know. I'm going to go take a nap.
So at that point, let's pretend for a moment you're upset. You're genuinely upset about this. You go up to that guy and you're like, that's not cool, man. I really don't appreciate that. And he goes, all right. And then a bunch of people buy it for $38. Or you can go online and you can review him and you can be like, hey, his paintings are great, but he's kind of got poor business practice. And then a couple of us other venues that we're going to pick him up and bring him there are like, oh, we don't want you this time. You got a bunch of negative reviews for your business practices. And so now we're going to actually, until you improve those, we're not going to pick you up. We're going to, we have a big art expo and your booth is out now. Goodbye to your booth. You don't think that that's like that, even though his paintings are great, you don't think that reviewing his business practices is a part of what we're doing here?
Tell me. We recently did a thing about the Magic World Championship guy.
Right.
He backed out of it.
Right.
And he put on Reddit a lengthy post about his specific reasons for leaving, reasons why ways they could improve, things he wished they would do better. Do you think that a better way to do that would have been to leave a review on Magic the Gathering Arena on Steam? It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
It is the same company doing having a poor business practice, a poor practice with what they do, but they're both Magic. Like, you are on Steam, you are reviewing the game. You are not reviewing Square Enix. You can do both, but when I look at Steam, I'm looking for reviews of the game that I'm about to buy.
I actually think your example supports my thought more.
Really?
Because in that situation, he didn't go to Magic the Gathering and say to them, hey guys, these are the things that are frustrating, and here's what I really think you should improve. Here's how I really think that you should handle this and take care of this. He didn't at them on Twitter. He didn't,
How do you know?
He didn't go on Reddit
Maybe he
or
did.
whatever else. Or yeah, but my point is, even if he did, it wasn't successful. What finally got him what got him noticed was he turned around, he upset their business practice, he upset their competition, and then he told the fans. He told everybody else.
Was there an actual upset in that thing, or did they just get some other guy to play?
No, there was nobody else to play.
Okay. Did it really leave a mark on their business practice?
Somebody got a bye is what it was in the tournament. Yeah.
Okay, that's just how it goes. I'm sure somebody has had to bow out of a tournament before. It's not like they were run around with their chickens with their heads cut off like a chicken,
running around with their chickens
cut off
on the road.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it happens.
We're debating the wrong topic now, but
are we? Okay.
So I mean the Magic thing, but my point is, his goal wasn't to go to MTG, or even if that was his goal, it wasn't successful for him. So his goal was to turn around and tell the fans, with the goal of upsetting their bottom line, their dollar. He was telling the fans, don't support them. Don't support what they're doing right now until they, and even had a checklist of, until they do these things, you shouldn't support them.
Okay, sure.
And so, anyway.
Like I said at the beginning, here's my final point. I'll just
Yeah. So I was say,
like
final
I said,
points. Go ahead.
I agree. I think it is a method to use it. I think there are better ways to do it, because when I am looking at Steam games, if it's a game I don't know about, I'm assuming that the reviews, I'm not going to read all of them. I'm going to read, top ones that are possibly good, possibly bad, get a general consensus about the game. But what's more important to me is the amount of money I'm paying. And if I'm not willing to pay $60 for a game, then I'm not going to buy it. It could be great. It could have amazing reviews. It could be freaking Overwatch or whatever. I don't know how much Overwatch costs. But I'm not going to pay for it because it's not a game I'm interested in paying. It could be $10. I don't care about playing Overwatch. But if it's a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm willing to pay for it. I think it's going to be good. And if I look at reviews and say the game is good, then it's going to be more effective, or a lower price is going to be even more effective. Mm-hmm. So if I look at it and like, oh yeah, that's kind of crappy for them to do, I agree. I'm not trying to devalue people's opinions on that, and I agree that that's an okay thing to do, to say, hey, game's fine, but also, they had these business practices. But what's first in my mind, for the most part, if it's you can have like No Man's Sky where they straight up lie to the people, that's crappy. But just putting a game on sale, awesome. I get to pay less for that game now. That's fine by me. I'm okay with it.
So this one, to me, this is just the example. This was a middling ground. I think that it's more of an extreme. Like, I think the review bombing should be more of an extreme thing. I stuck to the Tomb Raider guns because that's what we're talking about.
Sure, that's a very recent
But in
example.
all honesty, I think that one borders the line of being a little bit petulant.
Yeah.
I agree with you that it's like, guys, it's $12 or whatever. Like,
it's a full month. I mean, a month is not a long time, but it's not the next day.
Right. And so, you got to play it for a month.
Yeah, you beat it in that time if you play games on a regular basis.
Think of it this way. If somebody told you you could pay me $20 and get to play Red Dead Redemption 2 for a month before everybody else, would you do it?
And then pay?
Yes.
100%.
Yes, you would. Like, and it's the exact, it's the flip-flop of that. So, anyway, this particular situation, I think it was not used well.
Sure.
But
there are better situations to use.
Yeah, like
review bombing No Man's Sky is a good idea.
No Man's Sky, or even if you want to review bomb Red Dead Redemption 2 and their practice with crunch hours and things like that, or there are, whenever there's, again, we talked about higher ups doing something immoral or coming out as something like with an issue, and you want to talk about the practice with I think there are uses for review bombs, and I think review bombs are a great way for us not to just communicate to them, but also communicate to them and hit their bottom line, which is something that is that they're going to be really concerned with. And hopefully someday we don't have to do that, and publishers and developers are people who just want to hear from gamers, and whether or not it makes them money, they will listen to us. That would be really cool.
That'd be great. I will give one piece of advice here at the end. Before you do something like this, try to learn as much about the situation as you can, because I've looked into the Red Dead Redemption crunch hours. If you don't know, it was like, oh, they're making people work 100 hours a week to make Red Dead Redemption. No, that really just comes from one guy saying that a couple of them worked like 3 weeks of 100 hours, and the vast majority of people worked 40 to 60 hours a week. And that's pretty good, actually, for video game crunch time. Like, you need to learn everything you can about the situation before you decide, I'm going to try to demolish this company because of something.
I have opinions on that, but that's another time.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think about review bombing and its purpose, and if it's successful or not. Let us know what you think about Kyle or Fox and I. When did I start doing this?
I don't really know. You don't even call me Kyle in real life.
No, I call you Fox.
You do.
Yeah. So let us know what you think about Fox and I's opinions on this.
Please review bomb this podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Let's get as many.
Let's get an article written about it.
No, I don't know. Would that be bad? If we
I would love it.
Negative. I mean, no. I mean, I know we'd love it because it would be funny. But like, is that bad for YouTube?
No, it'd be fine.
We get a bunch of dislikes.
It'd be fine. Don't worry about it.
All right. Cool.
Do it.
We'll see you guys next time. Remember, saved games, save lives.
Bye.
Bye.